we're going to keep up this religious theme. When I was a kid in the backwoods in Appalachia, my grandpa was a preacher. And he was like a backwoods, uneducated guy, but he used to go into the woods to pray. And there was a little like speaking in tongues shit in the church, but he would really let it go in the woods. And he used to take me there with him. So this piece I'm going to read is taking place just after this character, she, has seen him speaking in tongues in the woods. When I was 10, I learned the word talisman. And I thought of Pa in the forest, kneeling on his carpet of emerald moss. It came to me that he had wanted to put some of his hope into me, which might not be all that different from imagining I was a circle of light, or gathered stones, or a thicket of tall, bewitched trees. That I became the ring of light for him, and not the subject he placed within its safety, perhaps explains why he did not move to protect me when I needed protection. Before I got too much older, I would need this and not get it. And this is a large part of the story I wish to tell. It might be the reason I'm telling it. But before this happened, my grandfather said that if the entire world moved one breadth of an inch, that we would find ourselves in heaven. And I believed him. And when he said we would all be so greatly changed by this movement that we wouldn't know each other there, I believed this too. This knowledge, once he'd uttered it, seemed pre-existent, as did certain stories about past generations in my family that I couldn't remember hearing, and so felt I'd always known them. I knew my grandmother's brother Lawrence had died in what she called the Great War, and her 3 remaining brothers had died in some way or the other from drinking too much. My grandmother had had 2 sisters, Violet and Stella, named for Flower and Star, and though they had both been dead for many years, I knew that she missed them because she talked about them as if they still lived. All the people in my family, for the most part, didn't talk. And when they did, it was in monologues that grew out of the proximity of long silences. Ma talked of the weather and the way the sun fell on the hills and the blooms of the marigolds her mother had planted. She called the house they'd grown up in the old home place, and in that phrase was a long and deep-set sadness that was tempered with incredulousness that the years had passed. My grandmother had grown old, and she knew it. She'd outlived everyone in her generation of family, and yet there were times when this seemed to surprise her. I saw her cry and then go to start supper or to work in the fields as if nothing had happened. And this made me wonder if what lay at the source of my family's silence was a wellspring of grief so enormous that they could choose when to drink from it because it watered every blade of grass we walked upon and vegetable we pulled from the gardens. When Pa talked, it was of the stars and our inevitable passing, and of a great blue ghost the color of lightning that had chased him through the fields when he was a young man. It could have been that my grandfather's numinous disposition was hereditary, but about his parents and his youth he said nothing. And so I don't know if his gift of birdsong had been passed from them, or if it had come from the birds themselves.